Welcome and welcome back, fellow fans of Clash of Clans. It is your host, Galadon, and here we go. I promised you this episode, the strangest but true, the oddest, most unusual attack strategies that I've seen in a while, all coming from one player. How does he do this? We're going to check out these weird attack strategies, combinations of many of the meta attacks that we see. This is EveCheck from Tribe Gaming, and this guy is a 3-star machine. Did you see the opening? Did you see where maybe you thought this was going to be a typical lightning Lalo attack, right? Dropping the lightning spell there on the clan castle and a couple of expos. No, not Lalo. In fact, it's actually going to be a miner attack. So Queen Charge Miner preceded by the lightning. Now, of course, many of us think, yes, you know what? Lightning is going to be very effective in taking out the clan castle and other buildings, and then maybe not necessarily going for a Lalo. But how he thinks of this stuff and how it works, I don't even know. I mean, that's a broad drop. That is a wide drop right there for those miners, and they're all going to roll in right after the town hall. Look at that Archer Queen. She has done a great job of funneling out that entire left-hand side, but the Eagle is still up. The Eagle is pounding away on these troops as they roll in. The Archer Queen converging on that town hall. Beautiful freeze right there, and the miners and the Hog Riders now going to crush the town hall and move on through the rest of this base. So, you know, it really does come down to, and critically more so with an attack like this, spell timing and placement. When you have just one heal spell to keep all those Hog Riders and miners alive and you need to get through the rest of this base, man, you better hope that your healers survive and that one spell is in a beautiful spot, and it absolutely was. EveCheck crushing his way through the rest of this base. Check out the Royal Champion moving on to the Eagle Artillery, still has her ability intact and has a couple of healers there. She is going to provide incredible value, and now there is this narrow pathway for everybody to follow, and that means everybody is going to soak up the Warden's aura as he does a better job post-update of keeping up with the troops and helping boost their numbers. And I realize that, yes, okay, you're saying, Galadon, this attack isn't that strange. I mean, it's just a minor attack with some lightning spells at the beginning. And okay, I'll give you that, but it gets stranger from here on out, okay? The attack strategies that EveCheck uses are going to get more off-meta, more unusual, and I'm not sure how he comes up with this stuff. I really don't. Obviously, he's having extreme success. He's back with Tribe Gaming and part of the championship team. Check this out as we watch a few more attacks from EveCheck as he makes quick work of this base in the last season of CWL, and we move on to another strange attack strategy, and this, well, for a couple of reasons. Now, yes, a lot of players use the Yeti Bomb, and here comes EveCheck with the Yeti Bomb. That is the blimp, moving in with a rage spell, getting into the core right there, and then key on the deployment time. You'll notice that he did not give the sweeper a chance to blow that blimp back and out of path. The blimp goes in, gets a bunch of buildings out of the core, and now you can kind of see the funnel start to develop. The defensive clan castle has been activated, and the Archer Queen at the bottom of your screen is going to start her walk, her charge through this base. Beautiful spell timing and placement as usual. Notice the use of the freeze spell. EveCheck forced to use the freeze because of the presence of defensive headhunters right there out of that CC. So great thinking from EveCheck. He was ready for that, and now he's going to work his way through the rest of this base with, yes, now this is definitely off meta, bowlers and Yetis with 2 jump spells. Now, double jump is not something you see a lot of because that takes the place of so many spell slots that you could be using for rage, for heal, whatever else, and you'll notice EveCheck's going to make this work. Also, how often do you see players get their units to go precisely where they wanted them to go? Watch as the bowlers and the Yetis stroll right in, go after the town hall, and then the final jump spell helps provide that pathway towards the backside, the high value defenses, the Eagle, the Inferno Tower, the Expos, and again, a little bit of good spell timing and placement. EveCheck making this look easy, and it's kind of one of those attacks where you're like, well, I could have done that. Why didn't I think of this? Double jump, Yeti Boulder, Queen Charge, Yeti Bomb with a blimp? That's easy. Anybody could do this, right? Well, I don't know. This EveCheck guy, I'm telling you, here's the thing. Remember, if you practice one attack strategy over and over and over again, you get better at it, right? Obviously, you're going to increase your proficiency with that attack. Here's EveCheck, and this week at CWL, so many 3 stars and so many different attacking strategies that my head was literally spinning. Every day when I watched EveCheck attack, I was like, what is this guy doing? Where does he pull these from? Is he from another planet? Well, I don't know. But here he goes again, crushing another base and making it look easy. The Warden now has the healers, and then he's got some late cleanup troops here. Notice the balloons getting in there, taking out that archer tower, and just making sure that he's going to be fine right here. Although he was close to running out of time, definitely stretched the time on this one with so many different stages. Remember, you had to start with the Yeti Bomb, then the funneling for the Queen, then the Queen itself, then the final funnel on the other side to get the double jump to work. And man, I'm telling you, bowlers and Yetis, not exactly the fastest troops either. So yes, a beautiful attack and well-timed EveCheck with another 3-star. But trust me when I say they continue to get more off meta and even a little bit stranger in the remaining days of Tribes CWL. But when you've got a wild card like this on your team, it makes it so hard to defend, so hard to think of how you're going to stop a guy like this. So here comes EveCheck again. This time he's got Hog and Miner hybrid going, and it's starting out with a Blimp Bomb, the Yeti Bomb in there as it comes in. But notice it doesn't look like the Yetis got to the intended target of the single target Inferno. So that could pose a problem for most players. But, you know, EveCheck is not most players. Watch as the Queen Charge rolls in next, and EveCheck is very easily going to deal with the single target Inferno with just a couple of balloons right here. The Rage spell, the Freeze spell, and the balloons roll in, and although the Archer Queen wasn't going to get to the single target Inferno, the balloons do easily, and that clears the path for that Queen to stay alive. And then watch the beautiful left turn right here as she comes in and goes back towards the core of this base. She clears out the defensive clan castle, which again is going to have all sorts of headhunters in there, so she's got to deal with the headhunters. Slowly but surely with the rage, with the poison, she is going to get through them, slowed way down by the headhunters, and that is definitely a challenge that players are having to overcome right now at this level of play. Another well-timed rage spell, and the Archer Queen is going to roll in after the Town Hall. So here comes the rest of the attack. A last-second Barb King goes down just before the Hogs and the Miners come in from the top of the base, and that is just going to be enough to keep them funneled in towards that 12 o'clock portion. Watch as the Barb King just barely stays ahead. And again, what we're talking about here is not just, oh, I'm using the Barb King to funnel, but I'm using the Barb King to distract many of those defenses to fire on the Barb King rather than firing into the crowd of Hogs and Miners. So they get the job done through the core. The Archer Queen is still alive as well. She is finally going to get targeted by that single target Inferno at the bottom of the screen. And that's going to be the end of her, but the Miners will move on. With the Hog Riders, the healer's going to switch. And of course, EveCheck not looking at much difficulty here for the rest of this attack. Take a close look at the Barbarian King on the far left-hand side of the base. Just watch him for a second. He was entertaining. Now, this was obviously not planned, but that's a 1 hit point Barbarian King over there. And he's going to survive till the end of this attack. All the way to the very end. Got cleanup troops at the bottom right there. Some goblins working their way through. It doesn't look like maybe it's going to be an overkill attack, but surprisingly, the king is going to stay alive. There's lots of miners in the core. The healers followed the royal champion around, and the Barb King, I don't know how he did it. Didn't step on a mine. He's going to make it all the way to the end, and this is okay. He almost made it all the way to the end, and this is a beautiful attack by EveCheck. Hogs and Miners, and again, looking like overkill as it wraps up. Check out this really unusual looking base, and another pretty unusual attack, because how often are you seeing players use the Warden walk these days? That's right, the Warden with the healers from the 3 o'clock side of this base. Then you see a bunch of balloons at the bottom with a baby dragon helping to complete this funnel. So, you know, you can funnel with any of a number of different troops. Right here, EveCheck using what we saw earlier with the double jump. The ground troops, the bowlers, and the Yetis going to roll in because this is pretty much a flawless funnel. I mean, look, there's nowhere else for these guys to go. Both jump spells are already down, and you have no doubt that every Yeti and the bowlers are going to stroll right in towards that town hall, and then you'll see through the Archer Queen, the Expos, the single target Inferno, out the backside, the Eagle, and the rest of this base. EveCheck not even thinking to deal with the clan castle yet. So he's not even worried about it as they roll right through the core. Now, finally, when that clan castle activates, he's got all sorts of rage, freeze, heal, I don't know, poison getting ready to go down on all of those units. And that is also going to nerf the ability of any headhunters that might be there. So rather than having to deal with the headhunters with your queen charge, EveCheck just crushing through the core of this base. In come the Hog Riders from the Siege Machine on the right-hand side. He's got a freeze on the scatter shot to keep them up, even though they're tied up in that tornado trap. And in the core, there's not that many units left. It doesn't look great, right? You got the healers, a queen, a warden, maybe a couple of Yetis, and over a third of this base remains. But somehow EveCheck is going to get the job done with just what you see remaining. Check out that freeze spell right there on 3 individual defenses, as that keeps the Royal Champion alive a little bit longer, and that may make all of the difference in this battle. The Royal Champion getting to a final defense up in the corner, and that leaves just a little bit less for the P.E.K.K.A at the top. The Queen and her crew are going to get everything else from about the midline down, and you'll notice plenty of time left. Archer Queen ability, got a couple of archers out there trying to clean up the stray buildings that are on the outside, and it's going to be close once again. Definitely unorthodox, but also proving Yetis and bowlers ground attacks are still viable at Town Hall 13, especially when you can find the base that's vulnerable to them. It's all about that pathing in the core, about getting max value from the freezes, the poison, the rages in the middle of the base. Again, the timing of the Warden ability, obviously he seemed to protect pretty much every single unit in the middle, and that's usually where these style attacks fizz out towards the end, as they're in the middle of the base and there's so many different defenses firing in from every which direction. EveCheck again gets the job done and helps propel Tribe to top 4 in the world in CWL, and definitely some of the most unusual attack strategies used by anybody. Thank you guys for sticking around all the way to the end of the episode. You're the true Gala fam, and I love, thinking about, and appreciate every single one of you every single day. So stay inside, wash your hands, be kind to other people, animals, and planet. I'll see you back here again tomorrow for more full attacks.
Galadon, and you forgot to say wear a mask if you go outside.